The very simple example of Robinson Crusoe on his island sheds light on the functioning of a modern economy. In modern economies, like the one in which we move and play a part, there are many economic agents, households, companies, that perform different roles. We will use the term capitalist to refer to that economic agent whose role is precisely to save. In other words, to consume less than he creates or produces. So, in economic terms, let us forget the pejorative sense attached to the word capitalist. A capitalist is any person who saves. He postpones immediate consumption and thus consumes less now than he could consume. That is, less than he creates or produces. So, when capitalists give up immediate consumption, they make available to other economic agents, called workers, goods that can sustain them for the duration of the production process, which will mature in a more distant future. Just as Robinson Crusoe acts as a capitalist when he saves berries that later ensure his survival while he prepares the stick, in a modern economy there are many groups of human beings, capitalists, who save, and thus they do not consume all they could, and they free up resources, consumer goods, which sustain the workers involved in producing capital goods, which will mature only in a more distant future. The two situations are essentially identical. The vast majority of workers are involved in producing wooden sticks, so to speak. Some workers manufacture cars, others build computers. They are not engaged in producing food, nor clothing, nor entertainment, nor films. The vast majority. And yet, they are consuming these things. Why are workers who are producing capital goods able to consume? Precisely because an entire army of capitalists save and make available to workers the consumer goods they need to survive while the production process lasts. Keep in mind that the process of production in a modern economy is extraordinarily complex and lasts a very long time. The production of a car, a motor vehicle, comprises hundreds, even thousands of successive stages, and these require a very prolonged period of time. It takes many years to manufacture a car. Starting from the moment the company begins to design the vehicle, which is the stage furthest removed from final consumption, or the highest order capital good, to use Karl Menger's terminology. The process then passes through many other stages, which consist of ordering the necessary materials from suppliers. Not only sheets of steel, which in turn require iron ore at the entrance of a mine, a blast furnace, etc., but also the leather, the painting components, and the electrical components. It is, so to speak, a remarkably complete process of stages. And it has many branches. Iron ore in the mine requires a certain period of time. I'm obliged to use a spatial analogy, which, as you know, is not applicable in economics, but it is the most visual. The iron ore is then placed in a blast furnace and becomes sheet steel. Then the sheet steel is transported to an assembly line, where machines shape it into a car body. Of course, in addition, someone has had to design these machines which shape car bodies, and the machines have gone through different stages before reaching this one. This is like a branch. Likewise, all of this reaches the assembly line, for instance, at the Ford factory in Almusafes, Valencia. It arrives, and there are the robots assembling the different plates. However, someone has also had to make the robots, design them, manufacture them in Japan, etc. This is another huge branch, which has also gone through numerous stages before reaching this one. And then comes assembly, and then painting, and then tests, and then distribution. We have all seen trucks and trains loaded with cars. They reach the different dealerships, and then comes the advertising stage, followed by a period of time, and then the final consumer good and the proud owner of the new vehicle. A student once made a very amusing remark. He said, "Listen, Professor, what do you mean it takes many years to make a car? You are wrong." "I am? How so?" "Well, I visited the General Motors factory in Zaragoza." "Oh, you did?" "I watched the assembly line." "Oh, really?" "Well, listen, a car came off the line, and then another, and another, and another. Each car took 2 minutes to produce." Each of those cars had taken years to produce. And within that very complex structure, which is a modern economy, the different economic agents, companies, workers, are located in different places within this tangle of branches or stages. The stages closest to the final stage of consumption are usually called consumer goods industries. For example, the Corte Inglés. The Corte Inglés, selling items in its department stores, is very close to final consumption. The stages furthest from consumption are called capital goods industries. The vast majority of entrepreneurial effort and human labor occurs in the stages distant from consumption. Only a tiny fraction of the effort of entrepreneurs and workers is made in the stage closest to consumption, particularly in a developed economy. There are companies devoted to designing automobiles today. Do you know which automobiles they are designing? The ones we will buy 7, 10, 15 years from now. Those are the cars they are designing. Hybrid cars, electric cars. A tremendous amount of effort and entrepreneurial ingenuity is going into them. Also, certain pharmaceutical companies are involved in research and development and are experimenting with new medications which will not mature for another 5 or 10 years. Other companies are perhaps working with blast furnaces, and the people involved do not know if a certain sheet of metal will ultimately be used, for instance, in a ship or a car that will mature in 4 years. Other companies transport the product and are only 6 months removed from consumption. Others work in advertising, preparing the ad campaign for the next year, and others are in sales. As you can see, the different stages correspond to different time periods. The other day, when I was interviewed for the Telemadrid News, I had 2 minutes to explain to viewers the theory of capital. Did I say 2 minutes? I had 25 seconds. And I had to explain the effect of prior credit expansion and how it has led to investment errors on a massive scale. I made a comparison anyone should be able to understand. In light of the popularity of green shoots, I explained that the productive structure is like a tree. In this case, a horizontal tree with many branches, many of which have rotted. In other words, many of these branches have been unduly extended as a result of artificial credit expansion caused by fractional reserve banking, through the process we studied in the last chapter. And now the market is revealing those investment errors, and the only way to put things right is to cut off the rotten branches. It is like pruning a shrub that has rotten branches. The shrub then recovers, regains strength and vitality, and can grow again. This is the phase we are in, the phase of economic recession.